You guys ready?
Yep.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Toku Portal podcast. I am Rai, and with me is.
Did kid?
And the little king.
And today we're talking about Kaitou Sentai LupinRanger vs Keisatsu Sentai PatoRanger. Episode 43. So we open on Noel using Jim's computer with the lights out.
I have a question. This is the second time we've seen him use the computer. What was he looking at the last time? I legit can't remember.
It didn't show.
Okay, it didn't show it? Okay.
Yeah.
I was like trying to remember the entire episode. Like, what was he looking up that time?
No, yeah, but he had the lights on and Jim kind of walked in on him.
Okay.
So we cut to the LupinRangers fighting the Ganglar. His name is Toka Gale. He doesn't have a collection piece and reveals that someone asked to see his. He showed it to them, and then they stole it. It's one of those villains.
I like this guy.
Yeah, I like him too, actually. So the PatoRangers attack, Toka Gale flees, and then the LupinRangers. The police hear a familiar voice. It's Satoru, the first Nigo. He's glad to see Tsukasa and Keiichiro again, and Sakuya is shocked. And then we get the opening. Thoughts?
Okay, I honestly don't mind the monsters. The stupid ones are hard for me to wrap my head around sometimes. That's just a personal thing. Satoru, on the other hand, I am very happy to see. Because for those of you who have seen the Another Nigo special, this dude is basically major character development for all of the PatoRangers. He's basically their version of what Zamigo is to the LupinRangers, minus the evil thing.
Yeah,
which is awesome!
Let's talk about that special for a second now. Satoru, that's his name, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Satoru. This guy would make a great Sentai team member from what we see in that special. Like, he's very calm and thinking ahead on things. He doesn't seem to let his emotions get the better of him.
Basically a more laid-back version of Tsukasa and Keiichiro's polar opposite.
And, like, they show how, like, dedicated he is to his job before they had the VS Changers. Like, this guy would be an asset to a team.
Only problem is, before they became the PatoRangers, he got his ass handed to him on a silver platter. Hence why he's been gone up to this.
Yeah, unfortunately, that happened. Seeing him again here is like, it's a great moment because, hey, you can catch up with him and see the, you can see how he can see how far things have come without him, firsthand, and then they can kind of get a new read on him, on, like, what it might have been like if he was with them.
Yeah. So when we come back, we get the episode title, number 43, The Man Who Came Back. Sakuya tells Noel about Satoru, and Noel kind of recalls that he was transferred to France HQ after he was injured, because they basically tell him in Another Nigo special, but chronologically that was a while ago. So Hilltop says that he's returned for a special mission. Noel is curious as they haven't actually met before, and Noel probably doesn't know what the mission is. So the original three have a casual chat. Then Tsukasa asks about Satoru's mission. He reveals that his mission is to find the spy leaking info from the Japanese branch of the global police. And Keiichiro is confident that he can do it. Thoughts?
Okay, so even with the previews to this episode, we all know what this is implying. But from a standpoint where you don't watch it and you see this with fresh eyes, besides the end of Inigo, of course, I like the idea of this, because, I mean, it's been hinted at some point that there's somebody in the Force who knows, everything that's going on and is leaking it to the Ganglers. It's been subtle, huge plot point of an episode, but it's been on the back burner. So to see this come front and center with Satoru, I think is very interesting. But of course, the implications of who he thinks the spy is fall a little short for me. But when we, dive into what happens next.
Yeah, there's something to be said about the idea that there is a spy leaking information, and it would make sense for that spy to be someone we already know, but from what we know of Noel ourselves, I don't see him being a spy like this. Like, leaking information to the police, or leaking police information to the Ganglars, doesn't really fit him. Like, the only instance I could see him being some kind of spy is if he wanted to steal the collection for himself, which he would just be doing what it looks like he's been doing all this time, just fighting the Ganglars and taking the collection pieces. So I don't see him stealing information and selling it. I don't see him gaining an advantage from that.
Yeah. So, the thieves wonder how to find the piece that Tokagale lost, but at least they know his human disguise, so they can ask him. At the Japan branch, Sake introduces himself to Satoru. Satoru returns the friendly greeting, but he's kind of passive-aggressive when Noel tries to do the same. Tsukasa is surprised with Satoru because he eats one of the chocolates that he brought, and apparently he didn't like sweets in the past. He doesn't remember that and eats another. And then he asks to speak with Keiichiro in private.
That's a suspicious scene. Like,
yes,
I didn't entertain the idea that there was something that Satoru was not himself until I saw that. And then that seems to be like a little hint that this might not be the same Satoru.
Yeah, I hope it's not what I think it is, but
probably
we'll
is.
See. Yeah, sadly.
I haven't heard speculate. Please.
It could
maybe
be
he's been replaced by a Gangler.
Yeah, it could be that this is a Gangler whose human disguise resembles Satoru.
I gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry. Continue.
I could use the next episode preview to, like, go further with this argument, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to say that the possibility is there.
Yeah. So, he tells Keiichiro that there's a lot they don't know about Noel's past, and there are also rumors of him dealing with Ganglars. He also brings up the fact that he's working with the thieves. Satoru doesn't trust him, and he warns Keiichiro to stay vigilant. I did like how it was shot kind of in the same hallway where Tsukasa was having the heart-to-heart conversations with Satoru in the special. But any other thoughts?
That and speculations we have. But well, leave him alone, don't care if you're not.
So King cut out a lot for me there. Could you repeat that?
Sorry.
It's not your fault. Like, I'm honestly wondering if there's something up with my connection.
Either way, I don't really have much else to say. I mean, Decade a lot of it. But I don't care if he's evil or not. I like you, Satoru.
I think I said all I need to on this scene. It's a really, like, emotional hit for Satoru to just come out and say, I don't trust Noel. Especially since Keiichiro has come to trust him so much that the idea, bringing back, ripping open that band-aid of, can we trust this guy, undercover cop who's working with the thieves and giving him collection pieces? Like, Keiichiro must have a lot of mixed feelings here.
Yeah, definitely. So, Tokugale arrives at his lair and finds a present with a note that says, I'm giving you this Lupin collection piece. Tokugale is ready to rampage again. Degranio is surprised by what Gosh tells him about X, and he's in a better mood now. The thieves find Tokugale. Despite his human disguise, it's pretty damn obvious who he is from his voice, but it was a funny bit. Before they can interrogate him, he uses his collection piece to break free and brags that he got it from Noel. He inflates like a ball and bounces away. Thoughts?
Oh, I've got some thoughts. King, you go first.
Oh boy, like I said, dum-dums of them is just to away from. So I'm just gonna let Ryan have the spotlight on this one because I don't have much. Already got a headache from banging my head on the stupidity. Moving on.
Okay, so I don't believe that Noel is a traitor, but let's look at this objectively. All right, is Noel smart? Would you say Noel is an intelligent character?
Easily.
Like, a good example here would be the auction house scene, where he brought Umika with him because he knew that Umika is good with faces, and they memorized everyone's face there because he expected someone to steal the collection piece. He's very forward-thinking, and he knows what he's doing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, why would Noel... Like, if Noel was a traitor, why would he give a collection piece to the gangler that has the biggest mouth and will literally say what's on his mind and reveal his own identity to that gangler?
You think?
I'm not buying it.
That's some plan.
There would need to be some crazy plan here for Noel to, like, do this and expose himself. I'm not buying it. I don't think Noel's a traitor, and this is my solid evidence.
Yeah, I can see that.
I'm definitely looking forward to what his actual plan is, though, because... Moving on, Noel gets a call on his headset, and he agrees to do something. Satoru tells the global police that there's evidence of data being stolen from France HQ using Jim's computer. Of course, everyone thinks that it's been Noel. The other police are reluctant to believe that Noel would betray them, though. But they do agree to confront him. So Noel meets Tokugale at his lair. Satoru and the police arrive. Keiichiro asks Noel what he's doing, but Satoru just butts in and says it's pointless to explain. So Noel shoots at their feet and runs away. Keiichiro hesitates to shoot him, but Satoru takes his VS changer and pursues him. The other two chase Tokagale. Keiichiro is furious. Probably at everything.
Keiichiro has so many things to be mad about here.
Yeah.
Yeah, no kidding. I'm also gonna cement on that he's not a traitor theory. Not just because the whole misunderstanding thing. One, as far as I could be forgetting something from later in the episode, they never gave Noel's reasoning, and it didn't seem entirely like the Gangler recognized him. I could be in this out of thin air,
the Gangler did. He said, "Yay, it's Noel."
Yeah, they got there in time for the Gangler to, like, be all chummy with Noel.
Fair enough. Okay. That was my bad. But one thing that caught my eye was that he shot and bolted. Yes, that's a technique for running, but that's also a technique of I aimed, I missed, and now I'm booking it. Like, still technically chummy with the Gangler, but also still trying not to hurt them? So they could be seen in multiple ways. That's just how I interpret it. But yeah, that was a slip up on my part, sorry.
Okay, well, on the one hand, like, Noel is not a traitor hand. He walks into this situation, like, he gets a call saying, hey, there's been a report of a Ganglar in this warehouse, go check it out. So he goes to check it out, the Ganglar starts acting friendly with him for some reason, and then the other cops arrive and are like, what are you doing? Did you betray us? And it clicks to him like, he's been set up. And standing there and protesting a situation isn't going to do anything if the person accusing him is right there to, like, argue their case. Like, if, say, Satoru is the one who's setting him up here, then trying to defend himself here isn't going to do anything because Satoru will just counter his arguments. Like, nothing is going to get resolved trying to talk in this situation. So he doesn't want to hurt them. He makes some warning shots and runs to try and, like, get wherever he needs to go. Like, maybe he intends to go get help or something. But right now, he probably wants to get away from Satoru, hypothetically. On the other hand, like, say he is a traitor, and he's been caught, the cops found him. Why does he run? Why does he not stay and fight, is my question. Does he not believe he could take them all on? Because that's a plausible reason. But why would he expose himself now? Again, like, the Ganglar is a blabbermouth if he wasn't ready for it. So, unless he's a traitor with some huge, like, convoluted plan going on, I still don't see how he could be a traitor.
Yeah, definitely. But it is nice to watch the other Rangers struggle with it. So Tokagale stops to catch his breath, but the thieves are waiting for him. A Kaitou change and roll call. Super Lupin Red counters him because he's just bouncing around like a pest. And Yellow steals the piece. Tokagale insists that Noel is the one who gave it to him. Then Gosh arrives to tell them what she learned from scanning him. X isn't human. The Lupin Rangers are shocked. Tokagale tries to escape, but Nigo and Sango arrive and defeat him.
There was something I wanted to talk about earlier that I forgot.
Okay.
Which was the scene with Gosh and Dogranio, where like the way that this scene is presented is really clever because it comes after the whole like no, I think Noel is a spy scene. So, and then Dogranio was like talking Noel up, like, huh, I wouldn't have expected that from him, as though he's talking about Noel being a spy for them. But I don't, it's clearly not that. It's actually just Gosh telling him what she learned about Noel. But I just like the way that they spliced those scenes together to make it look like they're talking about Noel being a spy for them. And whether or not he is, that's not what they're talking about. It's just really cool how they did that.
Yeah, definitely. And I really like this idea of Noel not being a human. It would explain a couple things, like the secrecy between him and Cody was insisted to stay in France. Why he's been popping back, he doesn't really have ties to either. But the obvious answer to this is he's a gangler. I don't buy into that. There's a theory that I've been hearing in some different circles now that seems like it has a lot of gravitas to it, but I can't say it's that he's not human because he's actually a collection piece. I know that sounds really weird, but let me explain.
Yeah, go ahead. I think I heard someone mention this before, but go on. Yeah.
The way I was able to interpret that was, we already know that Arsène Lupin modified all of the collection pieces. He made the versus changers. He was able to modify the trigger, the dial fighters, all that. And of course, he made Goody to the point where he was. So if he's something like that, who's to say he can't go farther? Even to the point where he's that is human, hence Noel. Do you see where I'm going with this?
Yeah, you're saying Noel is a collection piece.
Exactly. A sentient... The one thing that I don't get about that is how he's aged. Because he does seem like he has, not in experience, but in size. Like, kid to teen to adult, you know what I mean?
Have we seen Kid Noel?
No, but, I mean, it has been hinted towards. And I think I don't know if it's...
What if Noel's body itself isn't the collection piece, but rather the collection piece is powering a puppet, and that is what Noel is?
That could be the case I thought of too. But that's basically where I was able to interpret it, and that would have interesting possibilities. Like, it came around, particularly as of recently, Noel freaked out because obviously he wouldn't want people to know him. But at the same time, he also knows what the ganglers are doing. They're horrible. Everything Arsène probably never wanted for the collection at all. So maybe he's freaking out, not only because he doesn't want the ganglers to abuse that knowledge, but also because whatever abilities he might have, who's to say the ganglers can't use his powers too? If they figured it out. You know what I mean? No, okay. I'm not seed, but we've seen before with Destra that they can use the modified pieces with Victory and Siren. Whatever collection piece that Noel might be using and or even is, that was a lot of words strung together. My point is, whatever the deal with Noel is, who's to say that that power can't be used by the Ganglers. It could be his life force, it could be how he's X, it could be any number of things. But he probably doesn't want them stealing that and or even using him to get it. And that could be part of the reason why he's like, okay, enough's enough, I need to cut my ties, and that's why he's being seen as a traitor now.
Yeah, that's definitely an interesting theory. I can kind of see how that plays out. But I'll keep going on. So the LupinRangers try to shake off their worries by pretty much just thrashing Toku before defeating him. It's pretty awesome in terms of one-sided mech fights. Even Goody notices how ruthless they are. Red tells him to shut up. They defeat Tokugale and don't even say their catchphrase at the end. So, they reveal that Noel isn't human, but Goody thought that they already knew that. So Goody knew. Satoru chases and fires at Noel. I'm just gonna finish up. Noel uses pretty awesome parkour to escape. That was a nice touch. Keiichiro blocks his path with the patrol car and asks Noel if he really betrayed them. He wants to answer, but Satoru chases him off again. Keiichiro stands in silence as it begins to rain. Episode end. Holy crap. Thoughts?
Yes.
Go ahead.
So,
I can wait.
So I was like, man, this is a pretty good mech fight, before I went, man, they're really beating this guy. Like, this is pretty brutal for him. And then Goody commented on it. It's like, okay, it's not just me. Like, this is pretty fucking serious. I think my final point for Noel isn't a traitor is that Goody hears them talk about how he isn't human and isn't shocked or fazed by it. Which means Goody still knows the truth and still completely trusts Noel. Like, I get that they're talking about him being a traitor to the cops, but still, like, if he was like a Ganglar spy, then he may also be like a traitor to the thieves as well, but that's not the case. And that's really the only problem that I have with this episode, is that at no point did I feel like Noel was actually a traitor. As for the scene, that last scene where he gets stopped by Keiichiro, I'm wondering if Keiichiro is going to notice that Noel didn't respond because Satoru kept attacking him. I wonder if Keiichiro is going to confront Satoru about that. Like, hey, we need to hear this guy out. You can't just shoot at him when he's not even attacking or harming anyone. Because while Noel did fire at them first, he then proceeded to run and only run.
Interesting.
Like, if Noel was still holding his gun, if he was holding his gun and pointing it at Keiichiro, then Satoru would be perfectly justified. Noel wasn't doing anything. He was standing there. Like, Satoru had no reason to fire at him. So that kind of puts more evidence towards the boat of Satoru is possibly actually a Ganglar, like, trying to infiltrate the police.
Satoru, we don't. Whether that means he's a Gangler or anything we don't, time will tell. But yeah, this was so cool.
One more on the whether Satoru is himself or not. I don't think it's himself, because there was that scene of Tsukasa saying, "Huh, I didn't know you liked sweets." And then there's also Satoru's behavior this entire time, which is to say, Satoru is more rational than how he's acting here. And I'm not saying that accusing Noel of being a spy isn't rational. I'm saying at the end here, where he continues to fire at Noel when Noel isn't moving or threatening. Like it feels like a different character here.
I suppose only time will tell what happens next.
About 7 days.
Less than.
Yeah, less than at this point.
Now. Yay.
You know, another theory I just thought of. What if Noel is a Ganglar, but he's using a collection piece that makes him look human?
Why would he need that? The Ganglars...
Because those disguises are so flimsy.
Oh.
Seen, they can literally be destroyed by, like, a card slicing it. So maybe he's only appearing to be human. And maybe his loved ones were actually Ganglars.
Like...
Okay. Go on.
What if Noel is a Ganglar? Okay. At this point, I trust Noel, and despite what this episode has done, I still trust him after seeing this. So, if Noel turns out to be a Ganglar, I'm okay with it.
I'm trying
he's
really
the next
hard not to say anything right now.
If Noel turns out to be a Ganglar, he's the next Akira.
Okay. I get where both of you are coming from, and I'm trying not to say anything. Really, I am, because I don't want to spoil anything. Because for those of you who don't know, the scans came out, and I've seen them, and I don't want to say anything.
Well, you not being so, insistent on not saying anything makes it sound like we're right, and...
Well, okay, but I don't... Well, I don't want to say if you're right or wrong.
But the way you're acting is making it super suspicious, so it's sounding like we're right.
Or we're really wrong.
No comment.
See,
okay,
that...
Final thoughts. Spoiling things.
Final thoughts. I really enjoyed this episode, just because it tests the emotions of the characters and how they react to the information being presented to them. Like, you can't trust this person that you've come to know and trust. What do you mean? Like, where do you go with that? Even though I believe that they can trust him, like, just the idea that they're being put in this situation is pretty good because it shows their character development and shows how they react to it. King? Sorry if anyone can hear a low humming in the background. There's a truck outside.
This was an interesting one for the mystery. It shows a lot of potential. I'm so finally getting some development on Noel. Took you enough. And I will leave it at that, at least until next week. Because again, I really don't like. I'm not confirming nor denying is said or commented on is correct or false. And I will leave it at that. I am neutral on this.
Wonderful. But yeah, this episode was great. It was definitely a downer from last week's high, but I don't mind that because the show's writing has just been so great. So yeah, I'm looking forward to really everyone. Although this is mainly focusing on Noel, really everyone's going to get some sort of input and development. So, looking forward to next
Yeah,
episode.
what I like about this is that this is affecting everyone. Like, because Noel is in everyone's lives here. Like, they're doing a great job handling the two-team aspect. I'd be hard-pressed to think of a better execution of it. Thanks for joining us tonight, everybody. We'll be back tomorrow for Kamen Rider Zio. It's a good one. And next Tuesday for the conclusion to this episode. See you next time.
Thanks for listening.
Adieu, and later, taters.